Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are. This is Zafra, and I have another video for you. Um, you know how a lot of people say if you don't get a job, um, don't worry, there's another opportunity out there, or when the door closes, open a window, and all kinds of stuff to make you feel better about not getting a certain role. So, I'm just going to call them out there. I really am because for the first time in a very long time, I feel infuriated about how I was treated by this company that I used to work for. And, I think I drunk too much of the Hellsberg Diamond Kool Aid and really believed the previous manager or district manager when he said, even if you leave here to go to Jared, the Gallery of Joy, even if you leave here, you will always have a position here because you put in your 2 weeks notice. I'm going to tell you guys, it does not matter. When you put in your 2 weeks notice, it does not matter to this company. If you are planning on going from one job to the next, ask them, do you really need 2 weeks notice from me? Can I leave like now or what? I worked my ass off for this company. In the year of 2008 to 2009, um, I was one of their highest selling employees in the district. I worked some weeks, and I'm not kidding you, I was working 80 hours a week. Now, granted, this is during Christmas time, but it seemed like either no one wanted to work there or everybody wanted to work there on the same day, like Saturday, expecting to get this huge um, commission. But mathematically, does it make sense if you have 10 people on a sales floor that you're going to have thousands of dollars of sales just for yourself? No, it's not going to happen that way. Um, the revenue just did not supply that kind of uh, pipe dream that some of these employees had. And at the time I worked there, I was the only African American woman working at this location. It was in Beaufort, Georgia. And I had to put up with a lot of shit, a lot of crap that was very, it was just racist. I worked with an employee that he would not wait on a black person, like not at all. They could be dressed to the nines or they could be wearing regular jeans. He always looked at me like basically I need to help my people while he only waited on white people. And when I became promoted at this job, which didn't take long, I was promoted within 3 weeks to assistant manager. I forced him to wait on black people. It was either that or you weren't working there. And he really could not stand that about me. Like he would try to do everything he could to sabotage a sale that was about to close or something like that. He would chime in and say something ridiculous. And, or he would say, like, basically what I was presenting was not 100% true. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to pull you to the side when this presentation is over and I'm going to tell you what you should not say or what you should say. And he didn't like that. And a lot of the other employees did not like me. I didn't care. I wasn't there to be their Oprah. I was there to make revenue. That was my job. And when I came assistant manager, it was to manage other people to make the revenue that need to happen per month. And I felt happy because this was the only company in the diamond industry that I had interviewed with that actually promoted me to be an assistant manager, and I felt very good about that. But then things just started to fall apart. The district manager, we had like a trunk show, and trunk show showed these ungodly, weird jewelry, and and the person at the trunk show, or the jeweler at the trunk show, was going to use whatever stones he picked out and make and apply it to this jewelry that's already pre-made, pre-done. But the jewelry that you were mounting is like to like this is mounting a stone in there. Like that's what that means. This is a mounting. So anyway, they had the ugliest mountings I've ever seen in my life. I mean, things were like squiggly lines, and it just looked like I don't know who created this stuff. It was not imaginative at all. It wasn't anything that grabbed the customer's eye, which we did not make any revenue during the show. The only revenue we made was me making revenue from a bridal set. It had nothing to do with the show. I showed people what the show was about, but I was like, whatever. This is some ugliness. So because there was no sales made during the trunk show, the store manager that came there, he questioned me about it, like why wasn't the store generating any money for the trunk show? And I explained the situation, and I said, why don't you? I don't really know how to sell these particular mountings for the trunk show. Why don't you show me what I should have done to sell these mountings or these jewelry that look like a bunch of goobly gop? Yeah, show me how to better sell this ugly jewelry. So he does a sales presentation for a customer. In the middle of when he was talking, the customer walked away. He tried again, same thing happened. And I was like, oh, okay. So I see, he's like, well, I don't get paid to sell here, it's you. I love when district managers say that, because you are still a salesperson. You are still a salesperson. Just because you've reached a certain rank, you still should be able to sell something or show me a new way of doing things, or just go the total opposite and compliment me on how well I'm doing anyway. We sold a bridal set. It was $2,000. We have some revenue in the drawer. Okay? Oh no, that wasn't good enough. So the store manager, which turned out to be a covert racist woman, he yells at her about the trunk show not going well. Now, this woman she goes into the back and she's shaking and she's crying. And then she has the nerve to ask me, can I, can she use my mascara? Because hers is running because she's been crying. Hell to the no. This is a message for all you girls out there. Do not share mascara. Okay? That is just so unsanitary. That's so gross. Don't do it. So anyway, the trunk show is over. The only revenue they made was from me buying, I found 2 topaz stones and I had them make earrings out of it. $42 sale. That's all they made. Whoop-de-doo. And then trunk show was over. And the district manager says, in front of me and in front of the store manager, he points over to me and says, "Why can't you be more like her? Even though the trunk show didn't do that well, she still closed on a sale today. Why can't you be more like her?" And from that point forward, this manager had it out for me. She did whatever she could do to make it pretty much a hellacious place to work. And granted, she had no prior jewelry history at all. She ran a daycare before coming to this job. So that says something about privileged people. I'm just saying. I had more than 10 years of jewelry experience under my belt, but she's my manager and she doesn't know jack squat. Anyhow, she would, there was this Asian girl there, but the Asian girl did not, I don't know. Last time I saw her, she turned her hair platinum blonde and she had blue eyes. I don't know what happened to her. But anyways, she started mimicking me and doing my sales presentations. And I let the manager know about it. I said, she needs to get her own tricks. She needs to learn how to close on her own. And she never did. She never could close on her own. And when I mean closing, I mean actually getting someone to purchase an item, you ring it up, and you send that person on their way with a package, with jewelry, with whatever. She was not a closer at all. And every time that she would start a sale, I always had to finish it. District manager at the time even called me like, "You're like the hammer, but you're soft with them. You get them to buy, but you still hammer it in." Yes, I do. Because my motto is to either pee or get off the pot. I'm not going to deal with a person that's just looking. If you're just looking, then you're really just looking, and I'm going to leave you alone. I'm trying to, because that's going to mess up my time and patience or whatever, that I could be dealing with a person that actually wants to purchase something from here. So I'm not pushy. I can just read by other people's mannerisms and just from years of experience that who's going to purchase something and who's not. You just get that way after a couple of years. So let's skip a couple of months here. This guy comes into the jewelry store. The salesperson that would only wait on white people was so happy to see him and said hi. And the guy looked at him and nodded his head like that. And I greeted him as well. It was a couple of seconds later, but I greeted him as well. Because I could see from how the customer walked in and carried himself that it was game on. Either you were going to get that clothes or I was going to get that clothes. Whichever one it was going to be me. I was going to make sure it was me, which I did. I closed the sale. The sale was $8,000. For people that work at Jared, the Gallery of Jewelry, Shane Company, Mayors, and other places like that, they're probably like, that's it, This is not a big deal. So, but it was a big deal there. And I rung it up. I processed the sale. And lo and behold, this white employee, tells this white store manager that the reason that he greeted them first, and just because you greet someone in a store doesn't mean that the customer's yours. I'm just going to let you know. That does not mean that. You have to actually have engagement with this person, which that's what I had. But he said, oh, because he's gay, that customer, that's why the customer rejected him. No one could see gay on you. Okay? No one's looking for your gayness, you know. The guy didn't come in and say, oh, I think you're gay, so I'm going to go with this other woman. None of that. And this store manager, being the total biatch that she is, split the sale. I had to give half of my commission to a white person that didn't do any work and blatantly lied about why this sale needed to be divided. That was my last straw. I put in my 2 weeks notice the very next day. And after I put in my 2 weeks notice, you know, the district manager could have offered me more pay to stay, offer me a higher position to stay, because he knew that he kept telling me, you're ready for your own store, but I guess that was a lie. He could have offered me a store. There's a lot of openings in other places. He could have offered. He didn't offer any of that. So he was fine with letting me go, because God forbid, I was asking people that were this color to work. And when I say asking, I say that in a very, very feminist like way. It wasn't like I was asking them to do it. It was like, you're gonna do this. You're gonna do your job. And if you don't do your job, I'm gonna write you up. And that's how it was. And if you did your job, we had no problems. That's it. So all of a sudden, the same white male that's, to me, a bigot, really, a total bigot, he says, oh, I have to go, making up this story that his lover has passed away and he has to go to funeral and he has to go see about his estate and everything like that. And that would take exactly 2 weeks. So I could not leave to go to Jared, the gallery jury, for exactly 2 weeks. So while I'm calling Jared on the phone, I'm hearing their register just going off, because this is around the same time Mother's Day was going on. For us, it was slow. It was slow. And I'm hearing the person on the other line from Jared saying, why aren't you here? Why aren't you here? And that's the biggest regret I ever made, was staying those 2 weeks, because those a-holes did not deserve 2 weeks notice. And let me speed you up to present day. So I was out of the business for a while, maybe about 10 years. I'm doing call center work, but I still have a lot of the knowledge that I've learned over the other 10 years about selling diamonds and things of that nature. So I was going to consider this maybe a part-time job, maybe a full-time job. I don't know. I just wanted to see what the offers were. So first I go on one interview, which is, by the way, is in Lithonia, which is 30 miles away. And I'm thinking, okay, this must be good, because if I'm driving to God's country, then this is going to be a good job. So I drive there. I get there, and the guy is just asking me the most basic questions. Why did you leave? Why did you leave a job that you had 10 years ago? Are you going to have a different perspective on why you left from 2009 to 2019? It could be a little different. I was a little different, but I was straightforward. I told them what was told to me was that my store manager threatened to write me up, even though, even after splitting that sale for not making my numbers. Can you believe that? I'm not making my numbers. You made me split a sale with a bigot, and then you're going to write me up because I didn't meet my goal this month. Okay. But I'm beating you in goal because even the manager has to make goals too. The store manager has a goal. The assistant manager has a goal. We all have a sales goal we have to meet. So anyhow, I tell this, this manager that, and he's like, "Well, I checked your records, and by the way, you're under several different names. What the hell does that have to do with it? I was married before. I'm not married now. What does that have to do with anything?" Well, I didn't find any kind of written documentation in your records. So you kept records from me 10 years ago. You may not have the written documentation. And I said, in these words, I said, threat. Like I was there, you were not. I was threatened by this person. You were not there. So if I'm telling you something, it doesn't mean that I'm lying about this person. I'm just telling you the truth of how it went. And I wanted to say, and another thing, I do not appreciate you siding with someone, which is another white person, siding with that other white person that they didn't do anything. Like I was a liar. Okay, whatever. So that was a big mistake for me because that should have been like a big sign that says, this is not going to go your way. And I ignored that sign. I proceeded to go to the second interview, which was all the way in Cumberland. No, I'm sorry. It was at North Point. Okay, another drive to go to North Point. I speak to the store manager there. Very, very young lady, very young African American lady, asking me, well, why was your tenure so short? Why didn't you stay longer? And I didn't tell her the truth. Like this company was so racist to me that I couldn't even stomach being there anymore. That would have been the truth. No, I just said I got a better offer at another company and they matched my skill set because that's what you do during the interviews. So she goes, oh, well, come back next couple of days and you got to meet. I found your interview to be impressive. So, come back and meet the district manager. So I meet the district manager and she seems so disinterested in what I was saying. Like her whole demeanor was like, I'm wasting my time. Like her demeanor was so dry. Like she was just going through the motions. So even when I told her about all the things that I did, all the amazing things that I've done, her answer to like one of the questions was like, oh, even though that crisis happened, you went back to work. But the way she said it was real dry and like, I was like, did she just roll her eyes at me? Okay. So she goes, well, if we're still getting other applications, we're still looking at those, and we will let you know by Friday, which, by the way, she never called. And then I got another call from the store in Cumberland to interview there. So I interview there, and by the way, it's the same interview questions for both locations. There's nothing new. Tell me about a challenging moment in your that you faced, in any business. I mean, it was just very basic questions. Like, it wasn't even one of those questions like, tell me about yourself or whatever. So I go there, and I was kind of disappointed because up front, there's Gucci watches in a diamond store. And I'm thinking, wow, this is a watch store. It's not a diamond store, it's a watch store. And then they have lab created diamonds that were sitting in that case collecting dust. Who wants a lab created diamond that costs as much as a real diamond? Please, someone subscribe to my channel and leave a note and let me know that you like a fake diamond for $10,000. So, so anyway, I already told him that interview with your district manager, and he's like, we'll get back to you. So this manager from Cumberland calls me, and I'm thinking, oh, I must have gotten a job because you're calling me 3 to 4 times. So I work at a call center, so time is of the essence. And I had to excuse myself off the sales floor, off the production floor, to answer this manager's call. And he goes, I gotta tell you, you didn't get the position. I said, oh, okay. Well, I called out of respect. Okay, thanks. On my resume, there is my LinkedIn link to my LinkedIn account. You could have left a message there. And I do have this little thing called an email address that you could have used to say that you were not interested, or you could have not called me back at all, like the district manager did, because I can kind of connect two to two together. When you don't call back, that means I didn't get it, okay? I've been in this rodeo for a very long time. I've been in sales management, customer service, resolutions, administrative, all these different things for 30 plus years. That is my work history, okay? And you're gonna say, call me like that, and then say, no, I didn't get the job. And it just goes back to before that I allowed myself to stay at this job 10 years ago for 2 weeks for some white person that's a bigot on top of that. So it was like my life, my future had to stop because it was more important for this bigot to get the time off that he needs to grieve. Give me a break. Give me a freaking break. So I am going to Glassdoor, and I'm going to leave like a scathing comment. I mean, this comment's going to be, whoo. But don't ever apply Helzberg Diamonds. Don't do it. Oh, I guess I have to say the word, I'm allegedly saying that. So they don't sue me, But yeah, don't work there. Don't even apply. Don't even try. Because they are so effing behind the curve that you would not make any money there. They have no innovation at all, none. They look like how they did before I left in 2009, but worse. Don't even go there. You would do better going to Kay's or Jared or something, but don't go there. Or even Zales. You would have done better going to Zales or Piercing Pagoda. Even that would have been better. But don't ever work for this company because they are just full of a lot of opportunistic, racist people. Thank you. And I hope you have a great morning, great evening, good night. Bye.